Okay, so I gave this video to you perhaps a week ago or so to watch it, to make notes, and how you can learn from this about your trading as well. So we will watch this today. I'll share my notes and takeaways for you, how to watch it the right perspective. Okay, so let's begin.
Psychology is a fundamental element of performance.
How hard do you have to push yourself to make it to the very top?
We humans, we can take on certain amount of pressure.
Lewis Hamilton, champion of the world!
You just have to believe yourself that you are the best in the world.
Underneath the champion's helmet, there's years of reps, countless setbacks and bounce backs.
So there's the first important note to be taken is years of repetitions, countless setbacks and bounce backs.
Heartbreak for Max Verstappen, a million failures behind every success.
Ayrton Senna goes out of the league.
And it says, million failures behind every success, a lot of failures for that one moment of success.
Of the Monaco Grand Prix.
The greatest don't just prepare their bodies or hone their skills, they sharpen their minds through psychological preparation. This is the unseen side of racing.
All right, here it begins. And notice one thing, what is written in front of your screen? The psychology of preparation. Preparation, it always happens before the race, right? The entire week, the entire weekend, how do you go about everything? How do you go about in the off season? That is what his preparation is. That is very, very similar to trading as well, right? So the first point to be taken note of, well, the title is the psychology of preparation. And what I usually have seen with people who are trading in the markets, there is absolutely no preparation. In fact, there is no time being devoted to preparation when seen relative to the time they spend scanning for stocks and just to take some horrible trades, right? Well, that's, I don't know what to say about that, but the important takeaway is it's all about preparation, and as we move ahead, we will see more that is given in detail in this video. And the other important point that we learned is years of repetitions. So you see, under same circumstances, maybe the same corner, you have to repeat 100 times and 1,000 times, the same corner on the same track, just to get out those few seconds in your performance. And it's the same thing with your trading as well. If you are given a chart, well, it's not that you just write your findings about the chart and move on. No, spend a lot of time with that single chart, what that particular expression of demand and supply is. Try to understand it through the conceptual knowledge that you have of the framework. Repeat it again and again and again. A single chart, maybe you stare at it for hours, you watch it every single day. That is what is repetitions. And this is something that is found in every field, every sport, everywhere. And then there will be countless setbacks. Although, let me tell you, for you it will be much, much less. And there'll be much less need for bounce backs. But for me, honestly, uh, it was a pretty depressing time. And I'll talk about it later when I learned all this, when I came up with all this. It was a very, very sad and bad phase of my life. We'll talk about that later. But at least I'm saving you from these countless setbacks. There will be setbacks and you have to bounce back, but not countless. So that's a great thing. And again, behind, every single success that you see, that you experience, there will be multiple failures. Maybe repeating literally the same mistake over and over and again. Or maybe just repeating the mistake in different forms. When that happens, but the point is that single success only come once you realize your mistakes. Until then, failures will keep happening. And that's exactly why I say if you do not learn from your mistakes, and what do you mean by learning from mistake? What exactly does it mean? It's about self-reflection, that you actually sit, right, eyes closed, and you think, what are you doing? What is it? And you probably, at most of the times, you know what you're doing wrong. But the problem is you do not self-reflect about it. You just brush it off, ki, acha, okay, sir, I'll take care of it from the next time, and you move on. You never let yourself process everything that failure had to give you. It's natural. It'll keep happening for years and years again, right? So yeah, to reach that single success, the day you realize it, the failures will stay at the base. And again, why is it multiple failures? Can somebody not have a single failure and after that, he actually realizes? He can absolutely, but with majority of the population, with people, they do not realize it until faced with a lot of failures. It's all about how many failures it's gonna take for him finally to realize it. That's it's about. And then what's the important part is it's always skills plus psychology preparation. It's never just psychological preparation. It's skills plus the psychological preparation that is needed. Right? So the drivers that you're gonna see in the video are legends, absolute top drivers, right? So the skill is there. On top of that, it's all about psychology preparation. So that is needed, right? Let's move ahead.
I'm Matthew Thompson. I'm a performance psychologist working in Formula One. I think people see F1 drivers almost like machines. They're so consistently performing at such a high level. They're doing things that are almost like magic to most of us watching.
Yes, he's done it. A brilliant move there. These men are Supermen, and you're getting the living proof of it before your very eyes now.
They don't just turn up and get in the car and go super fast. There's often
Now, see what he said. They don't just turn up and get in the car and go super fast, right? But contrary, when we see it drawing parallels to trading, it's usually this case. People turn up, open an account, put some money, press buy and sells.
decades of hard work, thousands of hours of practice and preparation that gets them to the position where they can then show off their talents.
Extremely, extremely, extremely important. So, you see, decades of hard work, thousands of hours of practice. I mean, literally, the word practice. And I've been pushing out so many videos and preparations. Then they can show off their talent, right? You do have the talent, you don't have the practice and preparation, it's of no use. And when I make these practice videos, there have been a few comments, right? Largely have been really great. They get the right perspective. But a few of them are like, what's the point of doing work on the left hand side? Anybody can do that. It's really easy to justify things in the hindsight. You see how pathetic majority of people's perception is. That's exactly where the problem is. And I've also seen a few people on Twitter saying, practicing on the left hand side is futile. It makes no sense because every time there is going to be a new expression of demand and supply. That's all crap. But yeah, it's literally about decades of hard work. But again, for you, the best thing is you don't have to do decades of hard work. I've done it. Thousands of hours of practice, absolutely, right? Mindfully, that's important. Now, see, with these sports, is that you don't have any other option because sports actually demand a lot of awareness and mindfulness. By design, I would say, because a lot of your senses are working for that one goal. But when it comes to trading, it's a bit difficult, right? Especially when you're working on a laptop, you can always just open a new tab, search something, then again realize, oh, what did just happen? You just went scrolling somewhere. So there are a lot of distractions available, and a lot of your senses are not being used. So it becomes much more difficult. But again, literally said it.
The reality is huge amount going on with their psychology.
At high speeds, with the weight of the world on their shoulders, even the slightest error can result in devastating disappointment.
Correct. Now, I'll tell you from my perspective. So, when you actually trade on a really, really big size, literally slight mistake, maybe in the entry, maybe a fat finger mistake, or the wrong way to sell, can actually lead to a lot of trouble for you in your account. And these mistakes certainly lead to disappointment. Till this, like if I mess up some entry, some exit, some position size, I'm really disappointed with myself every single time. It happens.
Behind this focus is a brutal regimen of mental conditioning, allowing
Now see, behind this focus, there is a great deal of focus present. As I said, it's by design. Um, but you need to have that in the trading as well. And there has to be a brutal regimen, mental conditioning that has to be right. Uh, from a trading perspective, most of the people, and I'm pretty sure you have realized it in the academy itself, the mental conditioning about trading itself is just too horrible, right? We have already talked enough about win rate, risk reward, and then how do people view candles. Some people don't even use candlesticks. Just horrible mental conditioning. So, yeah, the right mental conditioning is needed absolutely.
drivers to perform at impossibly high levels.
Mika Häkkinen, double Formula One world champion.
Hakkinen has a look at Rubens Barrichello. Wow, that's a great move. That's a brilliant piece of rope from Mika.
Psychological preparation is one of the most important factors to able to win races. I needed help. I was losing 7 years in Formula One, my career. So you want to be the best. If you want to be a world champion, you cannot count anything away. Everything is important to make.
Literally, you cannot count anything away, especially again with trading as well. Um, Everything is important, your stock selection, your entry, your exit, your position size, everything is important here, right? So don't it's really uh, saddening to see what people are actually preaching through books, social media, and not like as of recent. It's been happening.
Make you better racing driver.
Something that's really important to understand about top level drivers is that they have a growth mindset. They are not happy with where they are right now. They believe they can be better, they will be better if they work on something and improve it.
Exactly. This is so crucial, right? About growth mindset. Now, there is a book by, I think, Carol Dweck about this. Uh, so, that's one book recommendation for you. But do you see, like, again, it's all about how could I have done it better, right? And the best part is the framework allows you with a lot of objectivity to do that. Okay, you took a trade, resulted into profits, good, but review it and see could have been better, or was everything right, like the entry was right, the exit was right, how you could have managed it. Always ask yourself these questions, no matter what happens with the trade, it's a losing trade or a winning trade. That's not the point, right? Because I've some seen people, losses are a part of the game, just learn to take them and move on. Okay, that's true. But most of the people take it in a sense that just move on. Don't go and analyze and look at those. Do not spend time with those. That's not the point. So again, that's crucial, and always believe that you will be able to do it. The belief has to be there subconsciously. And you should have this belief that if you work on something, you will improve it and you will get better.
They have to be physically fit enough to be able to consistently perform at their best in challenging they also have to be psychologically.
Perform great in challenging conditions, exactly. But what happens in the stock markets trading? Again, market breadth is wrong. Market, this is not a easy money market. Sit out. This year has been difficult. So if you protected your capital, you are doing really great. Shut the hell up, man.
Focused on the right things at the right time and in their ideal performance state to be.
So crucial. Focused on the right things at the right time and in the ideal state. So focused on the right stocks, the right location, right time, and mentally you should be in the ideal state, right? You should not be operating from mindset of FOMO, greed, revenge, lack of confidence, fear, or anything as such. The ideal state. And how do we generate that ideal state? How do we stay in that ideal state? That will come next. But again, focus.
Able to access those talents and skills.
To be able to access those talents and skills. So, if you have that skill and talent, you need to be well prepared, right, to access those. Now, just imagine, as I've always said, do not think futures and options is bad or anything as such, or option selling is best, option buying is loss making. That's all literally crap given by you by horrible people, man. They themselves are nothing, absolute low lives. Maybe a stroke of luck or anything just put them where they are. But apart from that, as a person, they are horrible. I can vouch for it. So do not take what they say. And that's exactly why important. If I, from by default, tell you options and futures is bad, scalping is bad, and this is bad. But what if you had the talent and skill? You will never be able to access those, right? Because the focus is certainly not there on the right things at the right time. Some people think cash trading is futile. There is no point doing it. It's the same thing, right? So take notes about that.
Testing, practice, simulator, visualization, watching onboard footage, all.
I mean, see here, testing, practice, simulation, visualization, onboard footage. So, onboard footage of yourself driving the car and seeing how you are taking a turn, and also watching the onboard footage of the other drivers, what they are doing, how they are doing it, if they are doing better than you over there. Just read these 5 words: testing, practice, simulation. What exactly is this? This is left hand side practice for you in trading, right? That's exactly what this is. Because everything that is happening right now, that's going to happen in the future, is something that has already happened. All you need to do is test yourself, practice yourself over there, and then see visualization. I cannot give more emphasis on this. It is so crucial. That's why in some of the audio lectures, I specifically ask you to close your eyes and do it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you might not even do it, but that's okay. I don't even care about those people. But the point is, visualization is so important and actually effective in no matter what you do. You do gym, you play sport, you trade, anything you want to improve on, maybe some musical instrument, anything. Visualize yourself doing that, and you will be able to do it better. So when what that's exactly how why I ask people what would a great M10 look like. So it's kind of putting their visualization at work. Do this. What would a great V12 look like? In what circumstances uh, a V12 with not so a great end of the expansion might still be a really great one to trade. Do it number of times. There is never enough, right? There's never enough of practice that you can do, right? So, extremely crucial. And onboard footage is like reviewing yourself weekly, monthly, 6 monthly, however you want to do that. But it's extremely, extremely crucial in all sports. I mean, if you have watched NFL, have you watched that Tom Brady's documentary? In that, this is exactly what he did, onboard footage and visualizations. He was watching the opposite team players, what do they do, how do they do it, and accordingly he would manage things in the game. So, extremely important.
All of those things happen in the ways that the cars have huge amounts of development to get to this level of pinnacle. The drivers, it's a similar process.
This is the man who has the mind of a computer.
Three-time champion and one of the greatest drivers of all time, Ayrton Senna was truly the king of driving in wet conditions, an area where even the most elite drivers never master. As a young karter, from karting through to Formula One, Senna constantly practiced in the rain, intentionally working on a weakness.
Did you just see what was said? So, wet conditions, are certainly very, very challenging for F1 drivers. So, will an F1 driver say, hey, it's a difficult condition to drive in, let me just stay in the garage? Yeah? And when the sun is out, the track is dry, that's when I'll drive. Otherwise, I'll not. Will he say that? No. He'll take on it. Like Ayrton Senna did it here. What would he do? He would practice in the rain, intentionally working on a weakness. And that's what I say. If you feel you are weak on DNA and analyzing the quality of the stock, intentionally practice on that one particular thing for months and months. You have to do it. If you are struggling with, the quality of candles and contraction, practice that particular thing over and over and again.
To turn it into one of his greatest strengths.
Preparation is huge, so
Extremely crucial, right? Constantly, so consistently practiced in rain, intentionally working on a weakness. And then he says, preparation is huge. Certainly it is.
when we talk about in sports and in motorsport the importance of confidence, and confidence being a good thing, and belief, and feeling like you can achieve what you're trying to achieve.
This confidence develops over the years. You have to believe that you are the most talented driver out there. You have to be even be a little bit naive to thinking about that way, because there's absolutely great drivers out there.
And this is crucial. See, confidence, and in a good way, not being too cocky about it, but in a good way, belief and feeling from the inside, internally, that you can achieve what you are trying to do. But, and he also says, confidence is built through years. But how exactly? Because in trading, if month on month, you are making negative returns, and probably even if it's positive, it's single digit positive, it'll be a bit difficult, right? Because what you see in reality happening in front of you is very different from what you want to believe and achieve. So how exactly do you do it? So there is a book recently published, I think 2023, called as The Confident Mind. Pretty good. And then there is one more book, The Game of Tennis, about confidence. So maybe you can read that. But the point is, when you make money, you will actually internally feel better, right? You will feel confident when you make money. And that's okay. When you're starting out, you're taking kind of a external help to develop the confidence. But actually, the confidence is something that should come from within. That's how you will be able to perform in the long run. Because at times it happens. Just the performance is just not coming. So at those times will become really difficult. And see, you have to always try and go for the best. And that's why this idea of win rate 30-40% just doesn't suit right with me. It never will be. It's a horrible agenda pushed by people, honestly. And there are a few conspiracy theories about trading and technical analysis, which I really fancy. It's about the mainstream technical analysis was actually built by the people in charge to generate liquidity for themselves. I like to think about it. It's great, right? Not saying that's how it is, that's not how it is. But certainly I really, really love to fancy that. And again, it might feel a bit naive to even think about it, right? If I just go out and talk to people and say I'm actually achieving for a 80 or 70% win rate, they'll be like, that's futile. keep doing that, you'll never do that, and the real magic is in risk reward, not in win rate. Let's not even waste our time about those people, right? Let them think that we are too naive thinking about this.
There are a few ways of getting confidence, of building confidence. One of which is, I've done this before. The more experience that they get, the more practice, the more simulation, the more visualization, then the better decisions they're going to make under pressure.
Extremely crucial, and I'm pretty sure you will realize this has been echoed for years now. For maybe every single time we have a live session or something, this is something that is constantly being mentioned. To build confidence, what do you say? I have done this before. Again, left hand side, historical experiences you are drawing from, more experience, more practice, more simulation, more visualization. Literally, in this video, this guy itself has said this twice in a span of few minutes. Now that's up to you to decide how important this is and not. I cannot uh, lay more emphasis than I've already done. And the important part over here is better decisions will be made under pressure or present or in the moment. So, when I see people, they are like, oh, I selected the stock, I did everything, but somehow I'm not able to act on it. Do you know why you're not able to act on it? Because you do not have this work. You don't do it enough. Because at times people come with me stating that, sir, I'm practicing, I'm watching charts, but still when I come to the charts, I'm not able to take any action. Literally, you are not doing enough of what you are saying, or you're simply not mindful. Just face the mirror, face the reality. I'm not here to appease you, to please you. That's not my work. I'm always here to show you the mirror whether you like it or not. Right? So when you actually do mindful and quality work around the LHS on the charts, trust me, uh, entry exits are going to be so smooth for you, which will come again later in this video. That's when I'll talk more about it. And see, this is why also I say that, visualize after, let's say, a CB has happened. Now visualize what all things need to happen to do that.
Is like for the first time on a wet track surface. Yes, with the talent that Senna showed at the Monte Carlo last year in dreadful conditions, but he absolutely threw the Coleman round with wonderful control. I don't think it really matters what the legs look like. He's got such a prodigious talent.
Out goes the checker flag, and Senna has won. Look at him, both hands waving with joy.
Legends of the sport grow their confidence through repetitions
What do I say? Legends of the sport grow their confidence through repetitions.
outside of their comfort zones.
Top drivers have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is a part of the job where there's the literal discomfort of being in a small space crammed in, but there's also the discomfort of the scenarios and the challenges and having to execute one lap on one opportunity at one time, having to make a difficult move to make your strategy work. None of these are comfortable, easy things. They're always executing and pushing performance in uncomfortable scenarios.
Now, this is so important from trading perspective. What do most of you believe in? Take 0.25 risk on portfolio or 0.5. Yeah, and how do you compensate for a small position size? Oh, take a small stop loss. Absolutely no logic, nothing. Just greed. Just literally driven by greed. There is no logic. There is nothing technical about it. But as I say, for super performance, you have to take super kind of risk as well. And in certainly difficult conditions, as I've said, the best money is made when everyone is afraid. And that's something even the best of the best investors have always echoed, right? So yeah, and you feel the red candles are, oh, it's so bad, sir, the red candle happened. But you all do that without actually watching the context, right? And that's why I say red candles have nothing in them. If you have the right context, they might actually be the really, really great area to buy, which might make you uncomfortable if the mental conditioning is not right. Otherwise, it's relatively simpler. But again, yes, at times putting 50%, even 50% of the account, or 80%, 100%, or even going above that, taking the leverage, will certainly be uncomfortable for anybody out there, right?
It's not easy. One thing that's a myth is that in Formula One that these guys are on their own.
Again, we'll talk on this.
Behind every legendary driver and championship season is a full team of high-performing individuals doing everything they can to maximise the chance of on-track success. For wins to even be possible, the coordination between the drivers, engineers, strategists and principals must be airtight.
Now look here. They have a team of high-performing individuals, drivers, engineers, strategists, principals, and that's such an extremely mechanical and technical sport this is. But in trading, you're literally on your own. I mean, yes, the great thing over here is you do have me constantly available, but still you are on your own, right? It's you who has to decide how much risk, where to take, so kind of a strategy you have to make. Then you are the person who ensures everything is being enforced the way you want that to be. Everything is over there on you.
They're the only one that gets in the car, but even then they've got an engineer in here. They get out the car into a support network. There's a huge amount of data and information that these drivers have access to, and different perspectives from different people around them as well. But we know that as humans, we can only focus on a very limited number of things at any one time. So what they have to be able to do is filter all of that information so that when they get into the car, they are very, very clear on the one or two, maybe three things that they're really going to focus on.
The racing driver must
Now, see, what is said over here? Clear on 1, 2, 3 things to focus on, right? And that's certainly crucial, especially when there is so much of information available. And that's exactly what we have done here. Focus on the framework and the parts that I've given you, and that's it. Now you cannot go about what is happening with the US market, or what is happening with the gift, what is FIIDI, just crap. Come on, like, don't do that. You doing anything outside of the framework is not gonna help you anyway. And that's a word. That's not an opinion, that's a fact.
communicate with the team. Is it the testing? Is it the race weekend? This is all about communication. Racing driver is not just coming to Grand Prix and sits in a car, drives, and goes back to the hotel. Huge number of different things are happening during a weekend. And better you plan all these programs, easier it is to then drive your racing car and perform in a maximum level.
A good relationship with the engineer is crucial because that engineer can then help to guide that focus of attention through a practice session or a qualifying session or a race. That means that it's not all on the driver to remember and think about everything all the time. You can visualize an infinite number of scenarios before you go into them to help you to feel prepared. And our brain is not fantastic at understanding the difference between something we imagine or something that is real.
Now that is something huge that he dropped over there. Brain doesn't differentiate between reality and imagination. There is a great book by V.S. Ramachandran, Phantoms in the Brain, which again echoes kind of the same thing. And that's so crucial. And that again tells you how important visualization is, especially before trading day, before executing your trades. Just visualize the good few basic charts, the great trades that we have seen in the markets play out. They will really help you eliminate the horrible trades that you end up taking.
The neurons will fire in the same way, broadly.
And see, the more you do it, the visualization, when actually it happens in the real time, when it's actually unfolding, I mean, you are just prepared. Everything becomes easy, I would say. Like, you just have to be great with your preparation.
Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Turkish Grand Prix. Those that have kept out there and saved themselves another pit stop might just find themselves in a very advantageous position. Hamilton only stopped the once. The World Championship record is equalled. Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a seven-time champion of the world.
This is what we do as a team, we continue to try and improve our communication so that we can make moves forwards, and just kept my head down, just kept believing that I'd eventually pick up pace of some sort at some stage, and that's what I did. The results of in-depth planning and execution are devastatingly effective.
The results of in-depth planning and execution are devastatingly effective. Again, it's the same thing. And see, in-depth planning and execution. So a really well executed trade from the perspective of entries and position size, going to bring you a lot of money.
But for a driver to effectively store all this information is easier said than done.
Days can be 30 engineers who you're communicating for the little details constantly all the time. So you're burning a lot of energy during the race weekend. At the end of the day, we are not different than any other people. This is our passion. Racing is our passion. We love it. When you love what you do, the information is much easier to take.
They're visualizing and they're imagining, if I go this way, if they go that way, if they get a great start, if they don't get a great start, if I get a great start, all of those different scenarios, that's all preparation.
And see, as you mentioned, it's easier when you love what you do, certainly, for anything you do in your life. And read this. They are visualizing and they imagine, if I go this way, if they go that way, if they get a great start, if I get a great start, all scenarios. That's all preparation. And what have I said to you when you go through a CB scan, when there is a CB that comes in? Try to visualize. How can this translate in a trade? How will this plan out in the next few days? What a great trade for this stock now might look like. Visualize it literally on the day of the CB. And that's exactly where majority of the job is done. And so
that then when they're in it for real, they can make those what look like instinctive reactions and decisions. It's often a product of all of that experience and preparation.
exactly. So when it actually happens, you can make it look like instinctive, like it'll feel like, how did you do that? At times, a lot of you ask, taking an entry over there, that's just insane. But actually, I started visualizing that much before that contraction actually even started. Right from the expansion, the visualization and mental preparation has to start over there. So when actually that kind of contraction happens, which kind of maps exactly to what your visualization was, it's literally so easy. What might look to the other people outside of the academy like, the hell were you doing over there? How could you buy there? It's just too easy, but it is again a product of mindful experience and preparation. And preparation is all what? Practice, repetitions. That's what it is.
Of course, it takes energy, and you have to be able to fit it in at the right times. So, immediately before a driver's getting in the car, it can be unhelpful for them to be given new information because they've already processed and prepared. They get their helmet on, they'll move towards the car, they'll have the last check-in on radio with their engineer for clarity. They'll get into their car. All of this is a build-up to help them to get into that ideal state where there is nothing else in the world. It's just this car, this track, and going as fast as I can.
And this is so crucial from a trading perspective. You see, before a race, it is unhelpful to give them new information. They are already processed and prepared. But what is an average person doing? Looking at market breadth, how many stocks up and down, and looking at FIIDI data, looking at GIFT, looking at Twitter and people over there. Maybe some more data, maybe like, oh sir, I thought the index was like this, so this will happen, so I did not trade. That's just too low level. I don't know, for some reason. And they like to do it. They like to engage in all of this for some reason. So don't do that, right? And as it's mentioned, idle state where there is nothing else in the world. Like, it's literally what you have prepared before the trading day, what you have, and that's about it. And then it's all about execution. Now, most of the people have no preparation, or even if they have, it's below average. Only a few have actually really great preparation. Now, what happens when the preparation is below average, the efforts are below average, the attitude towards trading is below average? Obviously, whatever you think you call it as a preparation is not ideal. So whenever you execute, you are like, but sir, I did this and that, but still the result did not come in. Come on, who are you even fooling? Self-reflection is extremely crucial in these circumstances, because मैं गाली दे दूंगा आपको, like, but that's about it. उससे क्या होगा? What's going to happen? Nothing, right?
Through it all, the truly special ones find a way to still the noise. A way to never lose sight of their single goal. To stay focused in a frenzy of instructions and screaming engines.
And see, never lose sight of goal, stay focused in a frenzy of instructions and screaming engines. That's exactly what happens in the market. So many stocks, so many CBs are coming, all are in a very different context. Most of the people do not even have a sight of goal. That what do they want to trade? What their good setups look like? What their great expression of demand and supply looks like? They don't even know it. Literally, they'll take what you give them and then they'll start justifying it with their half as baked preparation. It boils my blood a lot, and I've seen this happen in the academy. It just, I don't know, makes me really, really, really angry. But yeah, so important.
And in the moments before the race, final touches prepare them for victory.
There is no one way that all drivers prepare for a race. So for some people that's going to be really pumped up, really energetic. For some it's going to be calmer and more relaxed. What's important is to understand what helps you to perform at your best. What's your method? And then they're the strategies that we'll use to help them to get into that ideal state. So the warm-ups with their performance coach, the deep breathing in their driver room, the visualization, and then that routine of getting their suit on, putting their helmet on, getting into the car, and getting ready to go.
Before the race, before the practice, before the qualification, you must have certain routine what you do. Personally, I had a routine that I need to be quiet at least half an hour. I need to go to the room, be quiet. Yes, there can be some close person who you're working with. I never really want to be alone. Because then I start thinking too much. Just rest, think. Bring your memory in a level that you know what is good in a car, how you're gonna get best out of the car. So you need that half an hour. So that was quite simple for me.
Now look here. No one way all drivers prepare. That's true for everyone, right? Everybody can have different routines and rituals, but you should have a routine and ritual. I've seen, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you probably would do it. You probably wake up at 8:50 or 9 a.m. straight, start trading maybe from your bed only, or maybe from your mobile phone only. That's not about it. That's not about it. That's not how it's gonna be. That's not how it's gonna work. It's as simple as that.
World Championship race in 98 in Suzuka. It was the last Grand Prix of the year. I had a few points lead compared to Michael Schumacher. that weekend it was really tough.
Just imagine what's going through Mika Häkkinen's mind now. And if ever there was a time when attention could tell on the Finn, it would be now.
I was thinking like, what I can do, how I'm able to win this race. I was thinking like, how I'm gonna go to first corner, what I'm gonna do in the first lap, what I'm gonna do second lap. But then I thought, hold on a second, I don't know if I'm gonna lead the race in first corner. So where am I gonna put my focus and concentration? And then I thought, hey, Mika, put all your energies only for the start. So when the light goes off, just focus on that. I thought I just have to go for it. I just got to make a best start in my life. And it worked. It worked.
There's an interesting difference between rituals and routines. Rituals and superstitions are essentially an attempt to
Okay, now see about routine and rituals, extremely crucial. Every single one of us has this. I've probably made an audio on this, and to actually get a really interesting perspective about this, you can read a book called as Daily Rituals by Mason Curry. I think there are a couple of books. One is Daily Rituals, so it has like people like Mozart, Beethoven, some scientists, artists, that how basically artists work, what their routine and rituals are like, why are they in place, and how do they help them. And then one more kind of a edition, daily ritual of women. So it's more about uh, women's, right? Uh, Again, you will not be able to relate much with the current times because the first book was published, I believe, in 2013. And again, the people it has taken were of 1800s, 1900s. But again, it really helps to get a good perspective and develop your own routine and rituals and figure out stuff. So yeah, these were the takeaways from a perspective of trading, and I hope this clicks for you and you actually start taking trading and money a bit more seriously than you are doing. And how do you know you are serious or not? How do you know you're doing it right or not? Your account. That's the reflection.